If you'd like to see more of our videos, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMtrading. Today's March 24th, 2020, and today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the major economic events of the day, starting out late last night out of the United States, President Trump speaking about the economy and saying that it can't just shut down like this. And it's a question of what we're going to do. I think that still has to be answered. But looking at the schedule today, 10:15 this morning out of France, we have flash services PMI number coming out. And then out of Germany at 10:30 South Africa time, German flash manufacturing PMI and services PMI numbers coming out. And then GBP has a flash manufacturing PMI number at 11:30 South African time and a services PMI number is coming out. Now, again, I'm not going to weigh in too much on these PMI numbers because of the current conditions that we're trading in is all news driven. Now, all day today, we have G7 meetings in relation to how to acclimate ourselves into this new kind of market that we're in, into this new environment, and how different countries are going to take different measures with each other into supporting the economy that just doesn't collapse. And lastly, at 3:45 South African time, flash manufacturing PMI number coming out of the United States. Now, taking a look at the markets, we're watching the US dollar continue to retrace versus the major pairs, while the Dow Jones looks like it's hit a bottom for now. We hit 18,000. And for those of you remember, 4 years ago, we were trading about that area right before Donald Trump became president. So that is a major support area at 18,000. So for now, we're bouncing off of it. Now, looking at the commodities, gold also bounces while oil still remains under $25. And lastly, looking at the stocks, it's a really much a mixed bag. But let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's. So we're going to first start at the Euro USD. We're looking at a 1 hour chart. You can see down here, we've made this nice little trend line, okay, pretty much on both sides here. All right, so I would really pay attention to this because we are trading above the moving averages, and we're also looking like we want to take this a little bit further higher. So if this doesn't break above this 108.53-ish level, I think we're going to trade sideways for now, but it does look like it's setting itself up for a nice trend line. Now, jumping into the GBP USD, it hasn't really bounced. It's pretty much just flatlined here and trading within this area. So this may mean that this may go further down, but for now, we're just trading between this 114 and 116-ish level for now. Obviously, if there's any sort of breakout on both sides, you do want to be on top of it. Now, looking at the USD ZAR, same story. Yesterday, we were trading at the top of this range right up here, okay? And now we've pretty much made a correction of about 20 pips on the downside. So this is something to consider later today if this is just a little bit of a breather space after this massive corrections onto this upper levels of 17 to 18 versus the US dollar. Now, jumping into the commodities, looking at gold, we're trading here at 1565. Nice big bounce from 1468 over 100 points in just one day. Unbelievable, okay, or 2 days of trading, really. So with that said, okay, if this does continue to break out higher and, you know, we see further corrections in the market, this may continue its little rally. Now, looking at oil, it's dead, not breaking out higher, only about $3 off of its lows here. As you could see, it's pretty much on those lows, okay, and just bouncing. So like I said before, and this is very reminiscent to the GBP USD, it does look like it's weak for now, and if it does break out further on the downside, then we may see some further correction. Now, looking at the Dow Jones from yesterday, this is actually very interesting. We initially had this nice spike, okay, which was a fictitious spike right before the open, and then the markets tanked. You can't see that, I just drew over it. The markets tanked from 19,500-ish level back down to the 18,500-ish level, and then we were in pretty much seesaw, okay, right between these two levels, over 1,000 points, okay, between the two, and then it looks like it's getting stronger here, okay. So with this setting up these double bottoms here, this may look like it's actually setting itself up for a little bit of a bottom for now. Now, if it doesn't break above this 19,536-ish level around here, then I do think we'll be sideways trading, at least for now. Okay, the volatility will subside, and some of these wild moves are going to be smaller and smaller as we kind of get into the reality of where we are now compared to where we were 5-6 months ago. Now, if you look at some of the stocks, they actually looked pretty strong yesterday. If you look at Microsoft, it held its own yesterday for quite some time, okay? And it was trading within a certain range of itself, but it does need to solidify around these areas. Now, Amazon was the strongest one out of all of them because Amazon hasn't really been affected so much by what's been going on, okay? Amazon has so many different levels of businesses that they could diverse themselves from some of the risks involved, mainly because they're their largest online retailer and their shipments are still going through in most cases. So with that said, Amazon remains strong. And if you look at it, okay, if we look at a daily chart, we're not that far off of our all-time highs, okay? Only 400 to 300 points. Now, relatively for a $2,000 stock, that's not so much, okay? That's less than 10%, all right? Or a little bit above, 10%. So with that said, there are certain stocks that are doing better. Now, looking at some of the traditional stocks, the banks, JP Morgan really getting hurt very badly. So this is the mixed bag that I'm talking about. Some stocks have been really strong, some stocks have been really weak, and there's everything in between. So just have to be very selective about which ones you buy or sell. But depending on what the market does, okay, the weak stocks will be weak, and the strong stocks will remain strong, okay? So it's a little bit of playing to your advantage or trading to your advantage in these type of scenarios. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day.